welcome to Let Freedom Ring. Before we get into anything, just want to say that this show is dedicated to the memory of Uncle Vaha, Bob Vartanian. He had passed away unexpectedly. I can't even put into words how much he means to my father and my family. Growing up, we didn't really have extended family, so my dad's band was pretty much our extended family. So we are thinking of the Vartanian family in this time. But we got security here today. Soapy pre-up. This has been working really well to keep him out of the studio because we've been nervous that he's coming back. But my guest this week is a man I've looked up to for many, many years. Great to have him on the show. But Patrick Sage, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dan. I appreciate it. And thanks for the kind words and sympathies to your family.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Sure.
But let's get to know you, Pat, a little bit. Where are you from and where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Manchester on the west side, more famously known as the Kimball Street Projects. It wasn't for everybody, but I wouldn't have changed it for anything. It was a rough area for some, but for me, I had a lot of friends, and like I said, I wouldn't have changed it for anything. So.
Awesome. Yeah. Now you still in the Manchester area?
I do. I live in Manchester with my wife, my two sons, over on the northeast side of town. So okay. It's convenient for work, etc.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. And we used to do one thing that everybody should know about you. I know we were talking off air a little bit about here, brainstorming. What's 3 things that everybody should know about you?
I picked some funner things, I guess. So one thing is most people may not know is I'm like a sneaker fanatic. It's a hobby I've had for some time. I have quite a collection, specifically Air Jordan sneakers. So thought that was worth mentioning because it's not something you hear from people my age typically. I have a love for English bulldogs. I lost my bulldog back in March, so and the prior one in September. So I have a love for English bulldogs, and at some point I'm sure I'll get another one. And car fanatic as well. I trade my car in every week if I could. So it's not feasible, but those are things people may not know about me. So
awesome. And I know you said you collect like Jordans and stuff like that. And I remember when we first opened up Modell's, Mac Wilson, who's been on the show twice. Mac is a diehard Jordan fan, and we were just opening Modell's. He tried to buy us out, which he could not do.
He could not do,
no. Which was quite funny at the time.
Well, I was lucky. I had you running footwear, so that wouldn't happen. Yeah, that wouldn't happen.
He can I think you could buy 2.
Yeah,
maybe.
2. Yeah. We had you running that, so we were safe.
Yeah. Now, I also know, Pat, it looks like you brought, I do get gifts on the show sometime, which is exciting. My plate there from Ange Deshard, but it looks like you brought me a little
I did. My family and I were thinking of you after the kind invite to the show, and we found this, and we thought, what a better place to bring it than to you. So
this is absolutely perfect. I'll be sleeping with this tonight, for sure. It says Let Freedom Ring on, but Pat, I appreciate this.
Sure.
This is awesome.
Yeah, anything for you, buddy.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Great.
With that, the show's called Let Freedom Ring, so sticking with the theme of the show, what does it mean to you to be an American?
First and foremost, freedom. I think about the choices people are able to make and the lives that they choose to lead. So the freedom is obviously first. I would say respect is second. Respecting people's the way they choose to live, respecting their thoughts. A lot of great people sacrificed, for that freedom. So I'm respectful of that, and I never force issues on folks. I'm a believer that to be respectful of everybody's beliefs. So freedom and respect first and foremost.
Awesome, good answer. And we get a lot of different. It means so many different things to so many different people. So good answer. We'll get into current events. So I guess my first kind of question to you is, we've been in COVID now over a year.
Yeah.
Did your life change at all during the pandemic, or?
Mostly just on the school side. I have a son who's in elementary school, so being home every day and homeschooling is different. For work, though, my wife and I still had to report to work every single day. But for the homeschooling, that was difficult, and especially in the 4th grade. So that was our biggest obstacle to overcome, is homeschooling.
We're working full time and trying to do that.
Exactly,
It's been tough.
A lot of credit to my wife. She's home a couple days, so she was able to work with them a lot. So, but homeschooling was a big obstacle.
Awesome. And kind of what's going on with COVID right now, and I just saw this headline, current events. They're saying people that are hospitalized at this point with COVID-19, they're finding overwhelmingly what's in common is they are not vaccinated. It's crazy. You can go into Walmart now, nobody's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Go in the grocery store. Not nobody. There's still people.
Sure.
we've had a lot of people discuss. We've had people on the show say they're not getting vaccinated. We're people die hard getting vaccinated. Do you think that this is going to be a trend of people not being vaccinated?
Yeah, I find the folks that I interact with in the if they're not getting vaccinated now, they're not getting vaccinated. So,
Yeah.
and to kind of go back to what it was to be an American, not one to judge people, respect their beliefs. For me, it was a no-brainer. I was going to get vaccinated, to protect myself, my friends, my family, and certainly above all else, protect my 2 boys. So,
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, it's crazy because a lot of divide on that. And I think we've had a lot of just arguments
Sure.
since the pandemic has broke out. But I just thought that headline was interesting. And you never, the media, you never really know where they're getting the data. I mean, they present it, but it is. I do believe that it's a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So. All right, well, let's get into some fan questions here. We got some, and we had a late one come in, so
Okay.
I didn't give you this one.
No, that's okay.
And so it could be a tough one. But first one from your good friend Brian Carr.
Oh, okay.
What is your favorite match, pro wrestling match of all time? Any promotion? I actually want to maybe hit this a little bit more.
Sure.
I might ask you your WWF and WCW,
Okay.
maybe ECW favorite, going back.
Yeah.
But what is your all-time favorite?
I think advertising here, I'll
Yeah.
go with Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Obviously, it was not the greatest match from a performance standpoint, but it meant so much to the business. Hulkamania hadn't really blown up to that point. He was a champ, but it really took off beating Andre. So I'd say for me, it's Hogan defeating Andre.
That whole WrestleMania is pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
it's not even the best match on the card.
No.
Steamboat and Savage probably above all else the best match.
I think many people would agree with
Yeah.
that. But it is, when Hogan slammed Andre, there's never been anything like it.
No.
Did you see the video of the little kid in the Hogan
I
beat
did.
shop?
I did. That's where I got the shirt. I got the
did
shirt
you?
at the
Yeah,
Hogan
yeah.
shop. Yeah, so the kid was amazing. I'm sure he's got a very bright future in wrestling.
That was
it's fantastic.
incredible. Do you have a favorite WCW match that you've ever seen?
That's a tough one because I was definitely a more WWF guy, but I'd say from the business standpoint, it would be the Bash at the Beach. When
Okay.
Hulk Hogan joined the NWO, that's probably the biggest match. It's certainly the biggest turning point in wrestling because
Couldn't believe it.
yeah, nobody said. My brother Mike called that a few weeks in advance. He said, Hulk Hogan's going to be the guy you watch, and this is far before social media. He just something stirred inside him, said it was going to be Hogan, and sure enough, he was right.
Well, you know what was crazy about that time too? If you kind of remember, like late '95, they were trying to do like this darker Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Remember they like shaved his mustache.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
Which the Dungeon of Doom, I don't know what they were thinking with that. The alliance to end Hulkamania once and for all.
Some bad TV there.
Oh my gosh, I can't even. If you've never heard of the Dungeon of Doom in WCW, look him up.
Taskmaster.
Oh my God, Kevin. And I believe Sullivan's like a booker at that point.
Yeah, he's calling the shots there.
So he's putting himself in a really good spot there.
Absolutely.
And then I guess I would ask, did you have a favorite ECW match?
I'd seen some live ECW events. I actually saw one here in Manchester at the JFK. Tommy Dreamer was in the main event, and he got a cheese grater on his head from the Sandman. He bled all over my shoes, ruined my sneakers. So certainly not a televised event, but probably my favorite ECW memory is Tommy Dreamer bleeding all over my shoes.
Yeah, I can only. He loved to.
Yeah,
loved to play.
front row.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I guess just one more question that I just have. Any thoughts on AEW so far? I'm not going to ask your favorite AEW match because it's so new.
Yeah.
But are you liking their product today?
Initially, I thought it was pretty good. I feel like it's kind of tapering off a little. I feel like they're really going after guys that are just being, ostracized from WWE, whether it's Christian, Mark Henry, Big Show, guys that are probably past their in-ring prime. But it's still something to watch. I mean, WWE is not very watchable right now. So
No.
I would prefer to watch AEW first, but I definitely was a fan of it in the beginning more than I am now. I always like seeing Chris Jericho. I mean, he's usually steals the show, but
No one knows how to recreate himself more than Chris Jericho has, without question.
Hilarious. The stuff he comes up with is just priceless.
Even that, a little bit of the bubbly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Brian also wants to know, what's your favorite sports memory? And to be clear, Pat is not a New England sports fan. His sports fandom is kind of widespread.
Yeah, absolutely. So in baseball, we got the LA Dodgers. I've been a diehard Dodgers fan my whole career, or my whole life. Pittsburgh Steelers, same. It's my whole life, Pittsburgh Steelers. And I dabble in basketball. I'm not as much into it as I used to be, but Indiana Pacers. So, favorite sports memory, February 1st, 2009, Raymond James Stadium. I am sitting on the ninth row on the 10-yard line as the Steelers defeat the Arizona Cardinals in the Super Bowl.
That,
so
yeah.
that's got to be hands down my favorite sports memory.
That was crazy, too, because the Steelers had there was a fumble, right before halftime, right, that they ran all the way back.
James Harrison intercepted Kurt Warner in the end zone, ran it back 100 yards. The stadium was literally shaking like an earthquake when he was running. So,
I can
crazy
imagine.
memory.
Yeah, I think that's what stuck out most. What do you remember the final score of that? I can't
It was 27-23 Steelers.
Okay, so that was a great Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, they were down late. Larry Fitzgerald caught a pass over the middle and took it to the house, and Ben had to engineer the drive of his life, which is not common for Ben. But I was that day. He engineered a great drive, and Santonio Holmes made a remarkable catch in the corner of the end zone, right where I was sitting.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's got to be my favorite sports memory.
Yeah, that's definitely. And I remember being so happy. Not that I want the Steelers to win. I was happy for you being there.
You're a good friend. You're a good friend.
And I don't care about the Cardinals. So whatever.
Yeah, no, who does? Who does?
From Eric Wilson, what was your worst sports injury?
Ooh, good question. I've had a few, unfortunately. Sunday morning softball, which is certainly relevant to you.
Yeah.
I was battling plantar fasciitis. I'd gotten a cortisone shot and felt pretty good. So, yeah, time to get back on the field. I hit a ball. First step I took out of the dugout, out of the batter's box, rather, and I shredded every tendon in my foot. And to avoid casting it, because I wouldn't have been able to work, I just had an air cast. But probably the most pain I've had, and I've broken ankles and bones in the feet, but the tendons in my feet was probably the worst one playing softball. I mean, you got to have a laundry list of softball
it's a regular
injuries.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, I did tear my rotator cuff playing flag football, but truth be told, I'm probably not playing tonight because I've torn something, a hamstring or something. I was running from third to home Sunday, and it felt, I can't explain it. Some kind of pop in there, and I went down. So that's probably not. It's obviously not that bad. I'm sure I'll be back, but
I'm sure they're piling up at this point. I mean,
it's the old age.
Yeah, look who you're talking to.
Now you've played with someone that a lot of people talk about in this area of softball. Very loud guy. But he's played on a lot of wonderful teams. Mark Blatt.
Mark Blatt, yeah, he's a good friend. All kidding aside, he's a good friend. Yes, he's a good friend. He's a brave guy to pitch. It's not easy to pitch. He's a brave guy. He's loud for sure. We never won anything together. I could tell you a story, but he'd probably be embarrassed. But But no, Mark's a great guy, and he's a great softball player. And I haven't played with him in a long time. I sure miss playing with him, but yeah.
Awesome. Now, we had a late question coming in from Rich Miller.
Okay.
Who is the best wrestler of all time?
Best in-ring performer for me is Ric Flair. I think Ric Flair is the best wrestler of all time. I don't think he's the biggest star in wrestling, but he's the best wrestler of all time for sure. To me.
I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
When we did a bracket type of thing on the show back in late December. We put a bracket of who we thought, and Hulk Hogan ended up taking. We put in ring, money drawn, popularity, and what we say a lot on the show is we love Hulk Hogan the character.
Sure.
Not so much Terry Bollea, and I think he's done a lot to bring that on himself.
Of course he has. Yeah. Hurts, but it's true. It hurts
really
because he was a hero to a lot of us, but it's true.
And then when you see the things that he's done behind the scenes, not just in wrestling, but like in his personal life, you're like, what is wrong with this man?
Yeah.
Now we get some questions from a guy who I would love to exchange. He loves to go back and forth on Facebook.
The ultimate instigator right there.
He's always talking trash, but we like him anyways.
He knows who we're talking about.
Eric Burgess has a few questions here.
Yeah.
And the first question he asks is, what best large-roni? I'm assuming pizza, pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, for all the years he spent working with me, him and I enjoyed many a pizza together. So our frequent haunt was a place called Pizza Depot.
Right down
there
the street.
On the street, yeah. So him and I would frequent Pizza Depot. I'm glad he hasn't forgotten that.
Yeah. I remember going there on break.
I'm sure you and I have gone there. You know, it was a regular haunt for the Modell's folks. So.
Well, he has some questions for Modell's, and I actually found this, which is actually my name badge from Modell's. I don't
Yes.
how I still have this.
Unbelievable.
I have no idea, but this is going back to like 2004.
Yeah, I was thinking today, driving over, how long have we known each other? It's got to be
Yeah.
when the store opened, 2004.
I mean, I don't know why I have rubber bands all over this thing, but
holding it together.
I don't know. Can you see that, Colin? Yeah. So, anyways, I still have that.
That belongs in the rafters. I told you that belongs in the Modell's Hall of Fame.
If
So
only it was kind of heartbreaking when it closed down.
yeah, even though I was long gone at that point, it still
Yeah.
hurt to see because it was such a big part of my life and certainly a big part of yours
Yeah.
and a lot of people. Some of the relationship I've made there are friendships like yourself that'll last a lifetime. So I sure do miss that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we can get into like favorite Modell stories in a
Sure.
second. He's gonna ask that. He wants to know who's the biggest best dry mopper of all time at Modell's.
Well, I think he's only asking because he knows that's all he could do.
Yeah.
Well, basically, we would have him dust mop the store, and then we'd have Stumpy go behind him and do it right. So,
Yeah.
And he knows that's true. So, but Eric was our notorious dust mopper in the store.
Okay.
We should put that on his name tag.
Claim to fame there.
Yeah,
Right on.
absolutely.
Well, I focus more on selling Reeboks, so we go to Red Sox games for free.
Bingo. Yeah, we
You
don't
know.
get to that luxury box at Fenway Park on Mother's Day in the rain. We
With-
don't get there without you, though.
No,
we don't get
with
there without you. Yeah.
not only that, we watched it with Mayor Menino.
That's right. Mayor Menino was a friend of Mitchell Modell, and he stopped by to visit with us and share the day. So great memories.
Yeah,
Great-
that was
great
pretty
time.
crazy when he came in because I had seen Mayor Menino on TV for years.
Sure.
And then for him to he comes in with his grandkids, that was pretty cool
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, it was a great day. Great day. A lot of
Uh,
great days.
Yeah, we definitely did. So what is your favorite Modell story?
Oh, well, from a personal standpoint, it's we won Store of the Year back in 2008. It was the number one store in the company, 150 stores. You have this small little 20,000 square foot box in Nashua, New Hampshire that beaten stores in Times Square and all over the footprint. So for me, that's the highlight. But as a whole, it's the reunion, the first reunion we did.
Yeah,
when
that was
I mean,
cool.
how many people showed up?
We were packed.
75
packed the
people,
place.
maybe.
Yeah.
So, and as I alluded to earlier, the friendships I've made, whether it's with you, Eric,
Yeah.
even Eric, Russ and Bobby Campbell and the Wilsons, that stuff. Those are great memories, and I appreciate all of that. So there's so many to talk about, but Store of the Year and all the friendships we've made. So
I remember a couple things too. Like one of my favorites was when someone new would start there. If you remember Brandon Ficito.
Brandon,
Brandon
yes,
was born with one arm.
yes,
And we used to trick people to ask him about how he got one
Sure.
arm. And Brandon would play it and get all. Brandon never cared.
No, he's a
played,
great sport.
I mean, he did everything his
Yeah.
whole life that he ever could. So he'd just throw a hissy fit to just mess with them. I was like, oh yeah, he loves to tell this story.
Yeah. I think about Brandon when I think about wiffle ball. His first weekend in the store. After the store closed on a Sunday night, we'll play wiffle ball in the parking lot for a little bit. And he came up and I was pitching. And I said, "You good? You all set?" Yeah. He kind of sure. The first ball he hit almost took my head off. So I said, "Yeah, all right." And I know
he's
who I'm
fine.
competing with here. So great guy, great kid, great worker.
I do remember a time too where when I started, Paul was giving me all types of hard. I was like, dude, you're not even in my department.
Yeah.
I don't know why for some reason he had issues with the footwear guys.
Sure. Yeah. How did that end for him, by the way?
Not well.
Not
So I think I went up to you and I was still like, we had kind of established who, like I knew you, Adam and Brian were the managers, but I was like, because I never worked in a store like that. So you got department managers, get this. I'm like, who? So who's in charge? I'm assuming the people with the blue shirts are the main people. I think one of the first I went up to you. I was like, so like, who gets final say in this? And you're like, I do. I go, this guy is like, I don't know what his problem is.
Yeah.
Come in, Paul. The next Saturday at work, Paul's crying.
Oh, we might have left. We could have probably left that out, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much how it went down. Yeah, I don't think he spoke to you ever again about anything. No.
I don't know what his deal. I don't know if he was trying to move up, but he was definitely doing
didn't
it
work out.
the wrong way.
Yeah, no,
No.
no.
But I do remember that. That was
No,
pretty
I
funny.
protected you guys at all costs. Like you
Yeah.
guys were the lifeblood of the store, so I protected you guys at all costs.
Well, I think a lot of times, like if we were standing around, people thought we weren't doing anything. But when you're working in footwear, you got to be
Yeah,
people coming
Absolutely.
in. That's where you're gonna get the most questions.
yeah,
Now you got to try the shoe. What's the size of it? How do you use this thing?
exactly.
You know.
Yeah, having to
So-
go look for it and take
Oh.
calls. You got phone calls coming in.
Yeah.
So, yep,
It
you guys were vital.
Yes, it was such a fun time in my life working there. But Eric also wants to know. So I left. I went to Plymouth State, decided that's what I wanted to do, and left. And I ended up coming back. And Eric wants, after obviously, I think when I graduated college it was the financial crisis.
Yeah.
2008.
Absolutely, yeah,
we were right
2008.
in. So I was like, I think my parents might have walked into you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll hire him in a second. But Eric wants to know, why did you subject himself to hiring you a second time? Thanks for that, Eric.
Yeah, right. I read that earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, thanks a lot for that, Eric. But, there were so many of you guys there. I say kids, you're all adults now, but
Yeah.
there were so many that left after school came back, and, the Heathers, the Russ. Many people would wonder why I hired Eric the first time. So, you knew as long as I worked there, you always had a place to come. So that's the answer. You always had a job as long as I worked there.
Much appreciated.
Of
'Cause
course.
At the time, I was like, I'm like substitute teaching. I'm like, this is not going to make it. Between the two jobs, it was able to survive.
Sure.
But yeah, Eric, why would anybody have hired you in the first place? I would have been like, all right.
Yeah, that's a black mark on my record right there. So strike one. There's a strike for Patrick. Yeah.
Well, let's also get into pop culture.
Sure.
Years back, we got an opportunity to go to WrestleMania 29. Do you want to tell the story of how we came across those tickets?
Sure. So back then, Modell's was a big sponsor at MetLife Stadium, Jets and Giants, and I was close to the administrative assistant to Mitchell, and I saw her, and of course, the first thing I think is Modell's, MetLife Stadium, WrestleMania, right?
It's got to be something.
Yeah, there's a connection there for Patrick. So I had inquired about possibly me and some of my cohorts getting some tickets, and she worked on it for a little while and came back and said, we actually just pulled the sponsorship for the Jets and Giants. So we actually don't have seats any longer. And I said, that's okay. I appreciate the effort you put forth. She said, but hold on. And she called him the big guy. The big guy's working on it, though.
Yeah.
He heard you were interested. I'm lucky that he was so fond of me. And he's going to look into it and see what he can come up with. And I don't even know if it was a day later she called and said, he knows a guy and he's going to buy the tickets himself and he's going to give them to you. So I believe the value of the tickets was $1,000 a piece.
Oh, really?
So he was able to provide us 4, in which you, myself, Eric Wilson, and my best friend Brian were able to attend WrestleMania 29 at MetLife Stadium.
That was crazy because I think you might have texted me, you might have called me. I don't remember.
Oh, I called.
I
I said, this is a call. I'm calling him.
You're like, what are you doing for WrestleMania? I go, what do you think? I'm sitting in the basement watching it. You're like, what if we went? I go, what do you mean, what if we went? You're like, well, I might have tickets. I'm like, well, how much? Free. I go, okay, okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to pull my leg on that one.
Yeah, very, very blessed with all the events I was able to attend, and certainly to bring you along for that one. But between the Super Bowl, WrestleMania, the NBA Finals, the World Series, I was more than blessed working at Modell's. Mitchell took great care of me, and I'm forever grateful.
And Mitchell has one of those very larger than life almost personalities. I mean,
yeah, it's a
honestly,
celebrity.
Yeah. I remember working there, when we first started, with walking around with the $100 bills, just handing them out. Hey, okay.
Yeah.
Granted, I think I remember it was like the 2004 World Series. I spent that $100 before I even got out of the store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Red Sox just won. Exactly.
Any favorite moment from when we were at WrestleMania 29?
I see the picture every year on Facebook come up, so I think the picture of us there together is still one of my favorite all-time moments. We had some great times in the parking lot. You know, we ran into, I don't remember the independent wrestler.
Big O.
Big O,
He's
okay.
Zack Ryder's best friend.
Yeah, okay.
Or one of his best friends.
Yeah, we took a nice picture with him. We saw Bob Backlund selling autographs, walking through the parking lot, which was odd, but the whole day with you guys was just a memory I'll never forget. So
yeah, it was absolutely incredible. I remember pulling the parking lot, being like, I can't believe we're here right now.
Yeah, and there was a question where we're going to be sitting because I just had these tickets. I had never been there before. Where are we sitting? For all I know, we're sitting in the nosebleeds, and then they bring us up on the elevator and take us to our private little luxury section, which was remarkable. We saw right into the ring. I mean, we had a little bit of rain at the beginning, but just one of the best memories of all time for sure.
I agree, and what was even crazy was I bought that grill, and then I didn't know how to work it.
Oh yeah, the grill, I forgot.
And someone texted me, my rugby friends, who they were on the other side. They're
I
like,
remember
we got a
now.
working grill. I go, okay, we're going to try to figure out how to get over there. What's weird about that was I went to WrestleMania 35. My brother Bobby got tickets.
Oh,
and all
nice.
this stuff. And I'm in the parking lot we just got there for 10 minutes. Who do I see? My friends from rugby.
Wow.
And I'm like, I saw you at both WrestleManias. I didn't know you were coming, and you just parked right next to us. How
Again.
did that happen?
Yeah, that is something.
Absolutely awesome time. And we might have seen The Rock's last match. If he never has another match, we saw The Rock's last match.
I tend to think we have. I know there's always rumors that he's coming back. I just don't see, for him personally, I don't see the benefit. He's so big right now. I mean, he's throwing his hat in the ring potentially to run for president. He's got the TV show. I don't see it. I guess for me, I don't see him getting back into the ring.
He could get hurt. He could get
exactly.
Really hurt.
And movie contracts are affected. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So that could be another thing.
Absolutely.
I was also at Tom Brady's last game as a Patriot, so I could take.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't happy about how that went down, but
I remember though watching CM Punk and The Undertaker and thinking CM Punk was going to do it. I thought he was going to be the one to end the streak. It came close twice, and that would have been something, But still a great night.
If you look back at that, may have helped CM Punk more than it helped Brock Lesnar.
Probably, yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Brock Lesnar was already a big money draw. I mean, I don't know. In retrospect, I think Taker wanted it to be Brock.
Yeah, I think he had the last say, would be my guess.
What's your favorite period of wrestling? Because you were around for the Golden Era. You got the New Generation. Then you went to the Attitude Era. Then Ruthless Aggression and what we are. I don't even know what era.
Yeah, I'm not PG.
Yeah. But what's your favorite?
I would think, before it happened, I wouldn't think anything would have topped the Hogan Andre time frame. But, when it came to the NWO on WCW and then it came to Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon on WWE, that's it. I mean, that was must-see television. We got together on Monday nights, like a whole group of people to watch wrestling. That's never happened before. It won't happen again. So that's the prime time of wrestling for me right there. Monday Night Wars.
Which is crazy because usually you just get together for pay-per-views.
Yeah.
No one gets together for Monday night.
We were every Monday,
Yeah.
because you just didn't know what would happen. That was the best time of wrestling for me.
It was crazy, the Attitude Era. I guess you just call it that because they all merged.
Yeah.
But flipping back and forth,
Yeah.
and never knowing who's going to show up.
Yeah.
And it's just something that can never get recreated. And at the same time, you have these two companies going together on Monday night. You have the rise of ECW, where, let's be honest, both companies are stealing ideas from them.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's like, well, what ECW guy is going to jump to one of them? Or who's going to jump from the other?
Right.
Like, it was very crazy time. When you go back and watch, it's awesome. And we came right out of that. Like, the New Generation, like, besides Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, I hated Diesel's run. Even as a kid, I was I just didn't like Diesel. It was so bland. King Mabel. Oh, we're going to turn the Bulldog. Like, they were struggling for heels.
Yeah.
And then Steve Austin and the rest is...
Yeah, I mean, did you see the biography? I'm sure you saw the biography.
Oh,
it's
so
crazy to see how that all
good.
transpired. So, yeah, definitely the best time for me.
One thing I want to recommend is, do you watch The Dark Side of the Ring?
I do, yeah. I saw a couple of recent ones.
So, I just watched The Dynamite Kid last night.
Yeah, I watched that last weekend.
That story's crazy.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
And the sadder part about it, Chris Benoit idolized him, and they both, I guess the only difference is Dynamite Kid didn't actually kill somebody, but he was pretty close.
Yeah, there was a time where, according to the documentary, he was definitely trending in that direction, certainly with his wife at one point. So,
and I just want to ask this side question.
Sure.
Jacques Rougeau, the Mountie.
Yeah, the Mountie.
Hall of Famer to you?
Based on the criteria of the people that are getting in, I'd say he's probably got a pretty good chance. He had a good run. He was a known guy for a long time. I don't know that, looking at the grand scope of things, I would have him in, but based on who else is getting in, I think he probably gets in.
I mean, he's saying, he's like, I had a loud personality in the thing. And the story about him getting his revenge on Dynamite Kid, I don't want to spoil it. Watch the episode.
Yeah, I watched that.
I was like, you know what? Back in the day, he was a very good character.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever his role was, because he had so many different ones.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest one would be the Mountie, because that was the loud and the cattle prod, and for me, that's what I know him for.
And if you go back and watch SummerSlam 91, and he goes to jail, that was hilarious with him in this. Like, he sold it so well. Like,
I'd have to watch that again.
I'd like to see him. I think he deserves his place.
He'll get there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he gets there.
All right, let's do a little top 5. Let's get 2 for you
Sure.
today. What's your top 5 movies of all time? Or your
Top
favorites?
5 movies. So it's always tough to narrow down to 5, but I'm going to go with number 1 would be Goodfellas.
That's mine.
Okay. Yeah, I thought we were going to have some alignment here.
Yeah.
Casino's right after.
Love it.
Bronx Tale.
Yes.
Die Hard. And number 5, I kind of back and forth. It's got kind of a 3-way tie. Wedding Crashers, Naked Gun, and The Departed.
Departed.
Yeah,
like
those
that.
are top 8, I guess. But
that's fine.
The top one's cemented, though. It's Goodfellas.
Goodfellas by far.
Yeah.
Bronx Tale. I learned stuff about life from watching Bronx Tale.
Of course. Yeah.
I will say I've gone back years later watching Naked Guns, and man, were they funny.
Oh, hilarious.
They
All
were
3 of
really
them.
funny. Yeah.
All 3 of them. Yeah. Not enough credit. I don't think he got enough credit for his comedic ability. But
I feel like, was he a serious actor before that?
yeah, in his
Leslie
younger days.
Nielsen?
Yeah, and then he kind of just wandered into this, and that kind of spawned a series of movies similar to Naked Gun. They all were kind of similar after, but those 3 Naked Guns are, for me, the premier comedy movies.
And we will say this: he should be in the celebrity wing of WWE Hall of Fame. because
Absolutely.
He solved the mystery of the 200.
That's right.
You know.
Your memory is really good.
Yeah.
He did, but that is really good by you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you have top 5 TV shows.
Yeah, similar situation. It's always tough to narrow it to 5. Seinfeld will be 1 for me. Sopranos right after that, and then it's kind of dicey from there. I'd say Breaking Bad, The Shield, and then a 3-way tie at 5 would be probably Cheers, Frasier, and All in the Family.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been told a lot that I need to watch The Shield. I think that's
You've
come
not
up
seen
on
The
this.
Shield.
I have not seen it.
Yeah, you will not regret it.
It's come up on the show a couple times.
It's an unbelievable show. Great actor, Michael Chiklis.
Yeah. Because
Local guy.
Oh, is he?
Local out of Massachusetts. I'm surprised you wouldn't know. Yeah, huge New England sports guy.
Well, I know he was the commish too.
He was the committee. Wow, good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not
so-
known. Yeah, but The Shield, he's, as he likes to say, I'm a different kind of cop. So probably one of my all-time favorite shows.
I'll have to catch up on that. And I want to ask you this because we talk about Sopranos on this show a lot.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with The Sopranos even till today. And I posted this on Facebook, and I got some heat for it. Some people, actually, I didn't really have anybody that agreed with me. In 2007, the ending of Sopranos made me angry because they didn't really give you an ending, so you kind of felt.
Yeah.
I've looked back on it, and I was like, you know what, David Chase was right, in my opinion, to end it the way he did. The beef with New York was over. Janice was miserable. The family was coming back.
Yeah.
Now, you could have ended it with Tony maybe being killed there, but leaving it up to interpretation, how do you look back on that ending?
I'm with you. I mean, back in the time when it happened, I was kind of confused and thinking, wow, they thought they could have done better. But as the years have gone on, I've seen it again. I'm not sure what the ending would be if not for that. I'm not a writer. I don't know how you end that. I watched the clip you showed, so I could remember exactly how it went down. And I believe the perception was that he got killed. But the fact that they left it open, here we are, 12 years later, 13 years later, still talking about it. So I'm fine with it, actually.
You can just rewatch those episodes over and over because someone's like, I can't say this is the best show because of the ending. I go, but the ending made sense. And I had someone on this show before say, remember when they were at the lake house?
Yes.
And Bobby Baclieri says, before he's killed, but he also says, you never hear it coming.
Yeah.
And someone was like, that was foreshadowing.
Yeah, Tony.
To go to black.
Of course.
Yeah.
Side note, Bobby, great friends with Mitchell.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah, great friends. And then I'm sure you remember they had the scene in the Modell's parking lot.
Yes.
There. Yeah.
And Christopher's going to go get made.
Yeah, I know Lisa Duffy, a friend of mine from Modell.
I knew Lisa.
Yeah, she worked in that store at one point. So
yeah,
it all ties back.
Yeah, because I think it even says meet me at Modell's.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. He's got a podcast too with Christopher Moltisanti, and I can't think of the actor's name right now.
Michael Imperioli?
Yes.
Yeah.
They got an awesome podcast where they review the shows.
Oh, I've not seen that. That's good to know.
Talking Sopranos or something.
Okay.
Definitely worth. If you're a Sopranos fan, I highly recommend it. Let's get into sports. Now, as the Pacers, they weren't in the playoffs this year.
No, rough year. New coach, first year already fired. They've already moved on. So,
geez.
admitting the mistake quickly there. their ex-coach is leading the Hawks potentially to the conference finals. So I really became a Pacers fan when Larry Bird went over. When Bird left and went there, I went with him. So, the future is not bright there. They're not going to get any marquee free agents. So, if they're on, I'll watch, but I'm certainly not as invested as I am with Pittsburgh or LA.
Understandable. Now, we got some. I think Chris Paul is now out for the Suns.
Yeah.
LeBron actually put out a post saying, like, I told the NBA this, like, there's going to be all these injuries. You're not going to see your favorite players.
Right.
Kyrie Irving, karma, went down the other day.
No argument.
We don't like to say that name on the show.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
We don't talk about flat earthers and people that quit on teams and then say we're going to sign, then don't sign.
Yeah, no argument here.
Who, if you had to pick, do you got winning the NBA Finals this year?
Unfortunately, it pains me, but I think Brooklyn. They won the last game when I didn't think they were going to. It's just a health thing. If Kyrie's healthy, or I don't know what you refer to him on the show, but and Harden's healthy. Harden's healthy. I just, as much as I'd love to see the Utah Jazz win the NBA championship for my friend Justin, but I don't see it happen. I think Brooklyn's going to take it. So.
Oh man, the Jazz. When you look back in the '90s. They didn't win anything. I mean, and I know I criticized Jordan a lot on the show.
Well, let's not get into that.
But he really did stop, or they did stop some good. Again, Houston Rockets were able to do it when he left. It's crazy to think that the Jazz never won anything, never won a championship.
Yeah, without Jordan, they probably do get one, obviously.
Yeah.
But my friend Justin, lives and breathes the Utah Jazz. So for him, I would love to see it, but. I don't think they're. I was shocked they lost last night without Kawhi Leonard. They couldn't take down the Clippers. So Brooklyn wins, I think.
Yeah.
Pains me to say. I hate the super teams. When I grew up, you just didn't have it. Bird stayed where he stayed. Magic stayed where he stayed. You just didn't have a super team.
I agree. I do think the Celtics are sort of responsible for that, but they did it through trades, not free agency. Because that gets into the debate again. Because the first big three, not just homegrown talent, really was the Celtics to do that in 2008.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference there, as you alluded to. They traded away young talent to get to that point. Now you just have guys that are asking out of their contracts or not wanting to play, and I'm not a fan. I think it's ruining basketball. But
yeah. Any take on LeBron James saying what he said about the injuries? Apparently, Ken Shamrock was very fired up about this.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And said, "Stay out of politics." I'm like. Isn't political.
Yeah.
Ken, what do you? I know you've been hit a lot.
Yeah, poor Ken. Not the biggest LeBron supporter. I feel it's ironic he's calling it out now as they're happening.
Yeah.
As a whole, there was not a lot of that during the season. It's late. A lot of guys have played a lot of minutes. Chris Paul's out with COVID protocols. It's not an injury per se.
Yeah.
So I don't put a lot of stock in it. Everybody's got the same disadvantage. I think he's sour because he's out.
It was surprising. I know it's the first time in his career, but he's 36. He's not going to be healthy all the time.
No.
I don't know where. I'm not sure where LeBron goes from here.
Change his number and hoping for some better luck. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what that will.
I don't know what that's all about. But
yeah, because I think he plays till he's 40. I think he will.
To me, I think the goal is probably that he tries to play until his son gets in the league. That's his goal.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's the goal.
He'll probably be at a point where he could sign anywhere he wants.
Sure.
Yeah. What's the state of the Steelers right now? The Pittsburgh Steelers.
As a whole, you want to go back to last year? You want to go up to this year?
I want to start.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the Browns playoff game. Thoughts on that? Did you think that was the end of Ben?
Yeah, I thought because he's sitting on the bench at the end by himself and saw guys saying goodbye. I figured, that was probably it. It was not a way to go, but I figured that might be it. The injury he came back from was pretty big, but Pouncey retired, so I thought that was his number one guy on the team. I figured he would probably follow him out the door. Did not. Never been the biggest Mike Tomlin supporter. He's had a great record, but with the talent he's had over the times, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger, there's a Super Bowl in there. There has to be, and there's not. So I'm not the biggest Tomlin supporter. He's been outcoached. He was outcoached from a guy in his basement, so I was not thrilled with that. They're huge underdogs going into this year. Most people don't have them making the playoffs or winning 7 games. I think they're better than that. I do. I think their offensive line is younger. It's a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more athletic. Najee Harris being drafted in the first round brings an instant dynamic we lacked for a long time at running back. So I'm not promising they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think they make the playoffs, though. I do. I think they make the playoffs. I think the Browns regress. I think the Browns are due for
Could be the Browns.
Yeah, I think they're due to step back. They beat the Steelers in the playoffs. Good for them. They played a great game, but a lot of inconsistency in the last few years. I could see them regressing and not making the playoffs.
Fair enough. Now, how did it feel, I guess, to see the Dodgers win the World Series this year, even though it was a weird year? Did it still feel good to see them?
Yeah, I mean, every team still had the same chance to win the World Series, right? So I understand it was a shorter season, but that is another great sports memory for me. I'll take it. It's been so long, and I know one of the questions coming up will cause some heartache for me again with the Astros, but the Astros stole the World Series from them a couple years back, but I was happy to see it, and they did it the right way. They've built a lot of homegrown talent. There's some of these kids a lot of the kids that have come up are right through the system and drafting. I'm a big Mookie Betts guy. I think he brings a lot to the team. He's not having a great season.
It stings.
Not having a great season, but offensively, defensively, he's doing fantastic. But I'm anxious to see. I think they are built to win for a long time. So
now, I guess that gets into the next question. Now, obviously, the Dodgers could have another World Series.
Sure.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And we'll never really
multiple,
know.
I hope.
How do you feel about this Houston Astros today? After, essentially, the players didn't really get punished.
And I think that's what stings the most is they really skated there, and then they want reprieve and they want people to be forgiving and understanding. Did you see the clip of the kid in Boston? Did you see that?
No.
So there's a video. You have to look for it. There's a video of, I think it's Alex Bregman. There's an Astro fan sitting, I believe, behind home plate at Fenway Park and looking for a picture, and he comes over and encounters a young Red Sox fan. You want a picture, and the kid telling, "No, get out of here, you bum! I don't want a picture of you. You're a cheater." I couldn't have been more proud, but I'm sour about the fact that none of them paid the price. They all cheated. They got away with it. I'm not a fan of the commissioner. He called the trophy a piece of metal.
Ooh, that is...
Yeah, the Dodgers will never let him forget that. Max Muncy's the first baseman for the LA. Every chance he gets, he brings that up. And the Dodgers still took him 7 games. So I'll never get over that. I just, they don't get a pass from me ever. So
I agree. Do you think Altuve had the wire in the jersey?
1,000,000%. I couldn't believe when I saw the video of him yelling, "Don't touch my jersey, don't touch my jersey." It's clear as day.
And I think the excuse, my wife will get mad.
Yeah.
I don't think the wife actually does the laundry for
Yeah, I don't think so
players.
either. No, they got away with it, and I'm forever sour about it.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
And I know this stings being in Boston, but they really stole that from the Yankees too. The Yankees had a chance to get to the World Series as well. So Dodgers are obviously my priority, but that stings for the Yankees people too.
Well, it's tough too being a Boston fan because Cora played a role in that.
Absolutely.
So then, then the Red Sox win in 2018. Now you got everybody
against the Dodgers.
Yeah, and now you got everybody questioning that World Series.
Sure.
I would say this was, what the Astros did was one of the most elaborate things, because we keep people out of the Hall of Fame for steroids.
Sure.
Steroids do make you hit a little further and stuff like that. It does help. This was like, if you knew what pitch was coming, I think that's worse.
Yeah, and I know people call it sour grapes. I believe, I wholeheartedly believe at least Steven Pearce knew the pitch that was coming, in the World Series to beat the Dodgers, hit the big home run. This is not a guy that's notorious for being an MVP caliber player. So I'm not saying Boston doesn't win the World Series there, but I believe that he was definitely clued in on what pitch was coming because that's not a guy you're planning to beat you, in a big moment like that. So, but I'll always hate the Astros.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll always hate the Astros.
I agree. And, I know a lot of people were like, well, how can you as a Patriots fan dog on them? I'm like, all right, back off here.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to get us into my favorite segment of the show, which is blank versus blank.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 2 things, 2 people, 2 anything really. You got to pick one, but you got to defend it.
Okay.
We got some good wrestling ones in here. We had all kinds of stuff.
Awesome.
First one, we got 2 ECW legends, the Sandman or Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer. I just think Tommy Dreamer sustained. He had the longer career. He meant more to that. I guess he meant more to that organization. And also, he was definitely my favorite ECW guy. So I'm going Tommy Dreamer.
I got Tommy Dreamer like in my top all-time wrestlers.
Yeah.
The only thing that I felt Tommy Dreamer kind of robbed us as fans of was that he didn't want to ever have the belt.
Yeah.
Even when he won it, he coughed it right up to Just Incredible.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like so disappointed by that.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen a longer run for him too.
Yeah, and I remember when he finally did win the ECW WWE title. I mean, it was cool.
Yeah.
But like, it didn't feel the same.
Not at all.
You look back, you go, Tommy, you kind of robbed us as fans of that. I did get to meet him.
Yeah, and I've heard great. I was going to get into that. I knew you had met him, and I've not heard nothing but great things. So I mean, he bled on me, which is different. But how was your interaction?
Great. I mean, I walk in, I got a throwback Red Sox hat, and I goes, I like your hat.
Oh,
that was pretty
I
much
wouldn't have guessed that. Yeah, I
and
wouldn't have thought
like,
so.
I'm like, oh, honored to meet you, Tommy. Leo Connors, the host of The Ring and Other Sports, he's actually like worked catering for Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore.
Excellent.
So, he's actually texted back and forth with Tommy a few times.
Wow, very good.
Sounds like he's one of the nicer guys in the business. And I've heard like independent wrestlers on Facebook, when someone makes a claim, they're like, yeah, let's ask Dreamer, we'll find out if that's real or not.
Oh, interesting.
So
yeah, he's done a nice job on Busted Open too. He's been on there a few times.
Yeah.
Hosting. You ever heard that at all?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. I haven't listened recently, but I know when I was listening regularly, he was on there quite a bit. So he seems like a great guy.
Him and Foley, and I met Foley too. I mean, they just seem like, for what they were in the business, just two of the nicest guys ever.
Yeah, and I just saw you shared it, I think, a Ric Flair shoot interview where they talked about Foley real brief, and even for all their bad history, he couldn't help but say that's the nicest guy anybody's ever met. So
yeah, I met Foley, and I said that, I was all nervous. The first thing I said to him, I go, "You're my second favorite wrestler." He goes, "Okay, who's your first?" I go, "Shawn Michaels." He goes, "Yeah, that's right."
Yeah.
And but he was super cool.
Mick Foley, big fan of Santa's Village up here in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
very, very frequent visitor.
Yeah, he just comes off as just a very genuine guy.
I was just on the topic of Mick Foley. We were visiting New York City when they had the WWE restaurant. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
it was
I
a
remember
real
that.
short time frame.
I got a shot glass from that.
Yeah, I have a pint glass, but the one time I went, my brother and I, and my brother's like, they had like a steel cage where you could sit in to eat your lunch, and we looked over, and there he was with his son, which I imagine is Dewey.
Yeah.
But we let him eat in peace. We weren't going to bother him, but it was cool that he was there when we were visiting. So.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Two other big ECW guys, Sabu or Rob Van Dam.
I'll go Rob Van Dam. Yeah, I just think he brought more overall to the business. He's still performing, and I just liked he was electric. He did a lot of cool stuff, and it's nothing wrong with Sabu. I mean, I went to a live show where he knocked himself out jumping off a chair, in Worcester, but I'll go Rob Van Dam.
Do you think Rob Van Dam, if he doesn't get hurt, he keeps the TV title all the way till the end? I don't feel like him and everyone take that off.
Yeah, likely scenario, I think. Yeah, I think that's a very likely scenario.
All right, now here's a question, and this is good because we get a lot of New England fans, but I want to hear this from a Steelers perspective. Who over the last 20 years is more responsible for the success of the New England Patriots, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick?
Tom Brady. Belichick's a great coach, but Tom Brady just won a Super Bowl in his first season away from New England. So Tom Brady, Mr. Clutch. I mean, it's I can see how it's a difficult discussion.
Yeah.
Me being an outside fan, to me it's Tom Brady, no question.
I mean, it's a perfect storm of them coming together.
Yeah. How do you explain though? Like one season, his first season on a new team. I don't know how you can't justify that it's him.
I do believe he gets everything he wants at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they weren't. I see, because I always go Belichick because I go, well, Belichick was also the GM, which is pretty big. He's buying the groceries, which is what Bill Parcells always wanted.
Yeah.
And they gave it to Belichick, I think, right away. I don't remember if he was the GM as soon as he signed, but that's the only reason. But again, Brady going to another team and winning. Every week that he won in the playoffs, I go, how's he doing this?
Yeah. I mean, and Belichick is a great coach. Don't get me wrong. He's a great coach. But he had an opportunity. He was in Cleveland, and he got fired, but he didn't. I wouldn't say he won there, so Brady's won in both places. So to me, it's Brady.
I think, though, if they didn't move to Baltimore, I think he would have ended up. Because I think Belichick was the last, he
was the last Browns coach.
Coach when it was, the actual Browns. Weird time.
Yeah.
Very weird time. Mike Tomlin or Bill Cowher?
I can't stress this enough, Bill Cowher. Love Bill Cowher.
But Tomlin has more.
No, they both have won Super
It's
Bowl. Yeah. No, we lost. Mike Tomlin lost the Super Bowl to Green Bay a couple of years after they won
okay,
the
so
Arizona game. But
Cowher beat the Seahawks.
yeah, beat Mike Holmgren and the
So,
Seahawks.
okay,
Yeah.
I had in my mind that Tomlin had 2.
No, he bended two.
Yeah.
But Cowher bended two. He lost to Dallas.
Yeah.
The Neil O'Donnell game. But I'm a Bill Cowher guy. I think he did such a great job. And Tomlin's a good coach, but Bill Cowher. I'll always believe Mike Tomlin won the Super Bowl against Arizona with Bill Cowher's team. That was a team Bill Cowher essentially built. So I'm Bill Cowher, 100%.
You think Cowher had more years of coaching left in him?
Yeah.
He wasn't that. I mean, he wasn't an old man when he
No,
retired.
I mean, he said he just put a book out. So he's been doing a lot of press, and he was saying 15 years probably after he got out, he was getting offers. So
yeah, that's crazy.
I think if he wanted to coach today, he'd get a job for sure. He's still a relatively young guy, so I think he'd get a job. But, he lost his wife, his first wife and stuff, so I can't begin to understand that. But, Bill Cowher guy.
Awesome. Good answer. All Elite Wrestling or Impact Wrestling?
I don't have a lot of experience with Impact, so I'm going to go AEW. I don't watch a lot of Impact, so AEW. Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho keeps me watching.
All right, this is gonna be very tough for you, but you can only keep one. One goes away forever. You can't ever watch them again.
Oh boy.
Pittsburgh Steelers or Los Angeles Dodgers?
Oh, I knew you were gonna go with that. That's a tough one. I live and breathe the Steelers. I love the Dodgers, I do. But I live and breathe the Steelers. I'm a Steelers guy first and foremost. So, sorry to the Dodgers, but Steelers win there.
And it's not like you really have to do this, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, but my loyalty would be the Steelers first. So,
now after hearing your top 5 movies, I think this is going to be very easy answer. But gangster movies or comedy?
Oh, gangster all day.
Yeah.
I'll watch all of those movies every day if I could. So, yeah.
And that's funny. Yeah, Goodfellas right off the bat. I was like, yep.
Yeah, just the greatest movie right there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Bronx Tale doesn't get enough credit, though. Not enough people know about Bronx Tale. That is a phenomenal movie that most people don't know about. So,
and this is why, in my opinion, it was an HBO movie that didn't come out in theaters.
No.
And De Niro, I believe, directed that.
He did.
I think Chaz wrote it.
Yep.
And De Niro directed.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but a great moment in my life is I saw the one-man show, Bronx Tale.
Did you meet him?
I did.
Yeah,
he was fantastic. The picture didn't come out great, and we were standing off to the side. My wife and I were looking at it, the camera, the girlfriend at the time, but looking at the camera and kind of debating, like, oh, it didn't come out good. And he was watching us the whole time. He said, what's the matter, And sorry, the picture didn't come out. Get back over here. So he's just a wonderful guy and a really amazing performance if you ever get the chance. He did in Boston. A couple of years back, he did the one-man show in Boston. So if it comes back, you should look into it.
He's so talented.
Awesome.
I'm surprised he was never in more movies.
Yeah, he's done. I'm a big fan of Analyze This. I don't know if you saw that. He was in that. He had a small role in that. Hilarious gangster comedy, I guess you'd call it. But
it's very. That's De Niro. You learn there that De Niro could do comedy, and obviously he went on to do Meet the Parents.
Yeah, which is some of my all-time favorite movies as well.
All right, here's a tough one. Stone Cold Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan?
That's tough. I'll go Hulk Hogan just because I think he meant more to wrestling. I don't know if wrestling survived without Hulkamania. It wasn't a global phenomenon. It was before him. That being said, I've had the chance to meet Hulk Hogan. It was very cordial. It was a really great experience. But one of the highlights of my life is getting a phone call from California.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, my brother was working in a store. Stone Cold had stopped by to pick up a food scale, and my brother's not one to hone in on the celebrities. He said, I cannot let this opportunity pass. And he had mentioned, boy, I wish my brother was here. Well, let's call him. So when I ever answered the phone, my brother said, there's somebody here who wants to talk to you. So, okay, put him on. And he, bam, right into character. My brother said he was totally normal in the store. As soon as he grabbed the phone, turned right into Steve Austin.
If you watch his social media and you hear him on the podcast, doesn't surprise me that he would be like, give me your phone.
He was terrific. He only bought a food scale. He asked my brother to walk out to the car with him. Like, yeah, carry that out to the car and we'll talk. So a really great guy to my brother and I. So tough to say Hulk Hogan, but I do love Stone Cold. He's a great guy.
Fair enough. I guess one last question I want to ask, just follow up. Does longevity count when you're putting together who's the greatest wrestler of all time? I didn't really ask that when we asked the question.
I think it has to. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, some of these guys, like Austin didn't have a long enough window, honestly. I mean, he's still number 2, I guess, but I think it has to, you know. Look at some of these careers have spanned decades, so I think it has to. Look at Ric Flair, prime example.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that too. And then, you know, you got Shawn Michaels who had like 2 careers pretty much. All right, toughest one in blank versus blank. And this is going to be the toughest one ever. 2 people that were managers with you. Adam Vermakowitz
Oh, jeez.
or Brian Seapack. We don't put your feet to the fire on these ones.
I'm going. I love the guy. I love him. I love them both. You know, like they're brothers. I'm going Brian though. Brian stayed with me the longest, and you know, Adam pursued other ventures, which I'm very proud of and glad for him.
Great. I think he's still doing all that.
But Brian stayed with me through thick and thin, and you know, always found his way back. Transferred out, come back. So if you're watching, I'm going with you, Brian.
Awesome. Well, Pat, this has been a blast. Love to have you back sometime.
I'd love to be back. This was great, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no, great having you. And again, Uncle Vaha, this one was dedicated to you. I want everybody to keep your heads up out there and have a great week. But until next time, let freedom ring.